Hello, it's Big Jeff here, reporting on Primavera Sound 2013. Yep, the guy, he's been so popular that his wrist has virtually turned into a temporary tourism thing. And I'm not joking, it virtually has. Um, Yesterday was day 2 of the official part of Primavera, and this saw a whole range of really interesting artists today. Started off with going to see Ethan Johns, who's well known for being the son of the very famous, being like guy who produced like the Ryan Adams albums, or like the first 3 Kings of Leon records, and all the stuff like Laura Marling. And yeah, his solo stuff was alright. I've seen him once before, and he wasn't great, he wasn't terrible. But after him, they had in the Auditory de Rock Deluxe, there was a really amazing Ethiopian jazz musician by the name of Mulatu Astatke, who is basically famous for revolutionising Afrobeat music in Ethiopia. He's basically like a classically trained marimba player, percussionist, all round amazing kind of melodic player. And I mean, most people like over here would probably recognise his work for being the soundtrack to a film called Broken Flowers, which is possibly one of Bill Murray's kind of greatest films. And yeah, that was really special, because it's not often that I really get a chance to see an artist like Mulatu Astatke kind of perform live, especially because I didn't really know that much about his stuff anyway. And yeah, it was just incredible to see how both him and the group of musicians that he had playing with him just were able to pull it off. Basically, it was pretty special. Then after that, I remember going, I got myself a special reservation ticket to go and see Daniel Johnston, who is like someone to me is like one of my favourites, well, one of my many favourites to the singer-songwriters. He's someone who's if you don't know Daniel Johnston, he was someone who was born with I think he had some form of like kind of Asperger's, or quite heavily kind of autistic, and he used to hang around with all the kind of sub pop artists of the late 80s, early 90s, so like Kurt Cobain, people like the Pixies, people like Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., kind of all those bands. And he was someone who sent up mentally off the rails because someone one day at a gig basically spiked his drink, and he's got this amazing ability to just write the most simple but beautiful love songs. There's one song which I always sing to myself, which I know multi-millions of other people have covered. It's a song called True Love Will Find You in the End. And when he played that last night, I just found myself kind of slightly overwhelmed with tears, because kind of singing along, because it's a message which I personally believe in, and that I can emotionally kind of connect with, which I thought was really cool. And then, so after watching Daniel Johnston, I then headed over to check out a Portuguese band called Pals, who, unbeknown to me, I'd actually seen at last year's Primavera, but just didn't know what the hell they were called. And boy, they were fantastic. It was like watching a Portuguese version of Les Savy Fav and Holy Fuck playing at the same time. Just constant playing around with lots of rhythms, 2 drummers, building upon rhythmical stabs. It was, just kind of the sort of thing which was just so much energy just flying around with them. That was really cool. And then I went from them to seeing the Breeders for a second time. And yet again they played the same set which they played on Wednesday, which was they're basically playing the album Splash all the way through. And it meant that, because last time I had to miss the first couple of songs, so I missed them playing Cannonball. It meant that I was able to actually finally see them play that song, and that was really cool. And then after that, I went to see the Jesus and Mary Chain, who are quite possibly one of the bleakest indie bands out there. I mean, like, their songs are so nihilistic. I'll give you an instance. I mean, like, singing songs like I want to die like Jesus Christ. And they were one of the many bands which I thought I'd never actually see in my entire life. And yeah, they were, again, really, really, really good. And then after that, I had the spectacle, and it was pretty spectacular, of seeing Swedish Persian-influenced psych rockers called a band by the name of Goat. Wow. Is all I can really say. If you imagine Tinder Moran turned up to 11, put on steroids, and basically made it look as if they had come out of a 1960s time warp, that's exactly where you'd be getting Goat from. I mean, it was incredible. They all dressed up in kind of Persian costumes, had some of the most amazing guitar solos I think I've ever seen. They had these 2 girls who do kind of vocals and do kind of belly dancing, kind of routines, whilst swinging kind of what looks like kind of poi. It was just really stunning. You just felt it was extremely psychedelic. They had like kind of virtually 3D projections going on in the background. Just like I found myself just completely freaking out, just seeing kind of hallucinations at some points, like virtually having my eyes yanked out of my head and that sort of thing. I was like, wow. Okay, wow. And how did I follow up Goat? Oh yeah, I went to see The Knife. Now, The Knife was a very interesting performance. The Knife was a very interesting performance because it was entirely mimed. And so yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.